This is Brighter Rays, and we are looking at a study called All This Has Come Against Me, and we're in Genesis chapter 42. Today we're going to conclude our study in this chapter. And you know what? This chapter is really focused on really the ironic phrase of Jacob. I think if you wanted to sum up this chapter, you wanted to have a highlight, you wanted to have a main sentence, it's really this saying of Jacob, all this has come against me. Because it's really ironic. Jacob and his sons are perceiving that all these events, all these things are really against them. That is the complaint. What has God done to us? So they're viewing these events through the lens of the world. There's famine, imprisonment, false accusations, forced travel to foreign countries. There's a humbling of oneself before a foreign ruler. There's guilt and shame over past sin. There's untrustworthy sons and a distrusting father. Through, human eyes, this looks like a horrible situation, an impossible situation. To be sure, God is using these events to bring discipline upon Jacob and his sons. That's obvious. But as Hebrews 12 reminds us, for the moment all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant. But later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Now they're experiencing the pain of discipline. Now perhaps you are there today. The events of your life are bringing you pain and confusion. You cry out with Jacob, all these things have come against me. And I've been there, and actually I was there this week. I also had to remind myself, not all these things are coming against me. But you know what? Hebrews also reminds us to lift our drooping hands and strengthen our weak knees and make straight paths for our feet. If we're doing something wrong, yeah, we should fix that. But if God is for us, who could be against us? God's not against us. We're not to, wallow in the pain or curse the hand of discipline. That's not what we're supposed to do. We're to get up and keep walking down the straight paths which we have made. How can we do this? How can we do that? How can we lift our drooping hands? How can we, stand up straight and start walking again after we've gone through these, horrible experiences? Well, by remembering that if we are disciplined by God, then we are His sons and daughters. His discipline means that He loves you. On top of that, God, who is our Father, is also the King. And His kingdom cannot be shaken. And if you are a part of that kingdom, then you can't be destroyed. You cannot lose the kingdom that you're a part of. But if you don't know the King, if you don't know Jesus as your Savior, then all these things are really against you. Then that's true. Those bad things that are happening are against you. That is God against you. The Bible tells us that God is a consuming fire. The horrible events, confusion, fear, suffering, you think you have now really pale in comparison to what waits you in eternity. So the idea is to run to Jesus today. You can't lift those drooping hands. You can't strengthen those weak knees on your own. You need Him to help you to do that. That's the starting point, is God. You try to make your way, like, all these things are against me, well, I'll just try to bulldoze my way through them. It's not going to happen, because even if you survive these things, even if you make it through, there's hell awaiting for you. And that's a whole bunch worse. So, you need to know Him today. What do? Ask Him for mercy. It says ask Him for mercy, and He will give it. And you ask Him to make you one of His children, and He will adopt you. Ask Him to make you an heir of the kingdom, and you will have a crown waiting for you. That's the promise. Well, that's the study for this week. Come back next week and we'll look at Genesis chapter 43. Take a look at the next part of the story with the brothers and Joseph and how all this begins to play out, how they will eventually make it back into Egypt, how they'll end up eventually living in Egypt for the rest of their lives, and begin to see how this all kind of plays out, how God's story unfolds before us. So come back next time.